Mark. Good to speak with you again. I'll start with Tuesday and ask you a similar question to the one I asked Romany in terms of what you took away from that game now in reflection.
Well, it was an opportunity for me just to have a look at a few things. Clearly, we wanted to get the maximum points out of it because that would have helped with the final game, and it would have given me easier options and possibilities if we'd already progressed from the group. As it was, there was a number of positives in terms of we're able to look at a different shape and different personnel, and that's helpful. And I'm pleased we did it from that regard. Probably the one thing was that we probably didn't have enough time to do enough work on it. We had a session on the Monday prior to the Tuesday game, and that's where maybe some of the detail of the game fell down for us. And we know that if in the future we'll do more work leading up to a fixture if we decide to go that way. But there was any number of things that we were pleased with. Obviously, Vidane scoring again was a positive for us. The way the guys, for the most part, dealt with a different formation and what it gives you and what differences that we could have if we do employ that on occasion. So, there was things to take out of the game, but clearly ideally we would have preferred to have got the 3 points. In the end, we got 1 point, but there you go.
Do you learn more about the versatility of players as well, working in that shape and how that might be?
Yeah, it's not a huge difference in terms of the shape. It's just you need a little bit more understanding of when to press, who presses first, and all those triggers that you have. If when you play a system regularly, then those triggers become automatic. The more often and the more repetition you have. Clearly, we haven't done enough work in terms of that with the different formation, but we've got time to do that. And we'll make sure if we feel it's something that can benefit us on occasions, then we'll use it. But it's food for thought. I think it's another string to our bow, and we've got to embrace those things if we think it's the right way to go.
I know you've placed great importance on the EFL Trophy and wanted to progress in that tournament, but in the same breath, it, I suppose, offers you the opportunity, doesn't it, to try a different shape and try and...
Yeah, we just got to make sure that we take positives out of it. There's no damage at all to our confidence. We were beaten, albeit a penalty shootout took the extra point away from us. So we haven't damaged ourselves in terms of the confidence of the group. We're on a great run at the moment and really enjoying playing. I'm really looking forward to the game at the weekend. So the game was what it was, and there's always the potential that because you don't quite know what opposition you're going up against, you can't do the pre-analysis on the opposition because you're never quite sure who you're up against and what shape they're going to go with, and who are the individuals that you have to be wary of because the young lads finding their way in the game. So it's very difficult to do any real pre-game analysis on them. So it's not how we prepare against a League Two side, clearly, because we have more information leading into those games.
So how's that preparation been then for Saturday?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've just today it's just about making sure everybody's well after Tuesday. The guys that weren't involved obviously had more of a session, and we put to bed obviously at the post-match analysis. Just fed that back to the guys. So now it's all our focus is on the weekend. Really looking forward to a great game at the level we play at. It's going to be a great crowd. We're really enjoying the atmosphere that we're having at the moment, and it's going to be another big crowd that will get behind us, and we've got to make sure we continue in winning form that we're showing at the moment.
You must be pleased with that feeling going into home games now, and I know that was a big part for you when you came in, making Valley Parade effectively a fortress and making it somewhere where it might be uncomfortable for opposition to come in. It does have that feel now about going into home games.
I think so. I think you're right. That's a consequence of how we've been playing, and what we can produce at Valley Parade. I don't think anybody senses any apprehension in our play or our approach to games at home. I think everybody absolutely looks forward to every match. I certainly do. I have done since I've walked through the door, and every experience I've had has been a positive one. So clearly some guys, not too many really in the group now, have had times when it's been difficult to play at Valley Parade. I'd like to think there were those feelings way in the distance, and now it's just a really positive experience for everybody.
Naturally, results help with that, but what's it taken to get to this point now? What have you had to do since you've come through the door to generate this feeling now amongst the squad and actually across the fan base?
I just think maybe our fans base was just ready to really get behind maybe an idea, a thought, a period of time, and a group of players that they could relate to and actually like watching, and like maybe as individuals as well. So a lot of things. It's not just one thing. I think it's any number of things, and if you can all come together and gel at the same time, then you can have a real positive feeling throughout the club, and I think that's what we're seeing at the moment. So we've got to maintain it. That's the challenge for everybody connected to the club and the team, and that's what we'll endeavour to do. It's really important for us. Our home form will sustain us this year and give us the base, we hope, for a real challenge this year, and we've got to maintain it to be able to have that challenge.
You mentioned that point about the players being relative to supporters, and it might be a point that they can relate to the players. We've spoken to Romany today, and mentioned a social media post that he put up not too long ago, and a picture of the whiteboard in the change room ahead of Harrogate, and about the Harrogate hoodoo, and the fact that Harrogate had got the better of Bradford over recent times, and how that for you as a team, yes, 3 points, that's the be all and end all, but actually that was a big part of your preparation as well, a big part of your messaging going into that game, and the messaging clearly has been a big part of it.
Yeah, we do that. We highlight things that we think are important leading into games, significant moments in recent games, historical moments, obviously with a view to previous results. It doesn't always apply or deserve significance, and sometimes you make a point that's a little bit tenuous, and the lads don't embrace the idea, but for the most part, they recognise things that need to change, certainly, and we feel that we're in the process of changing a lot of things in terms of our attitude to the way we play and the way we go about our business, and that's an ongoing thing. It's not happening overnight. It's over a long period, and it'll continue right throughout the time I'm here. It's important that you continue to move forward, and that's what we're endeavouring to do.
On to Saturday then, and in terms of Stockport as opposition, what have you made to their start to this season, a newly promoted side?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people felt they probably would have had a better start than they've had at the moment, just by virtue of how well they did last year, and clearly they're a well-resourced club and want to keep on progressing, and there's been history of clubs that have come through the National League and then made the next step as well, and I think a lot of people thought they had the potential to do that. They could still very well do it. They're good enough to certainly to put a run together at some point. So we're under no illusions. They're a really strong team at this level, and we'll have to play well. But like I said, we're really looking forward to it. The atmosphere will be really at a level that we want it to be, and that's on the back of obviously the run we're on, and with that, and with the desire we're showing at the moment to really keep on collecting points and maintain this run of form that we have. I think that will go a long way to obviously deciding the outcome of the challenge that we have. Stockport are a good team. We're good individual players, and they've got a way of playing that will make it difficult for us. But I think the important thing from our point of view is that we're always trying to impose how we want to play rather than the opposition wants to play against us.
falls down to that word that you used a lot as well towards the back end of last season, which is momentum. It plays a big part.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still there. It's hard work to generate momentum, but once you have it, then you've got to do everything in your power to be able to keep it at the level that you need it to be to enable you to benefit from it. So we're on a roll of momentum now that we're pleased with, but that's on the back of a lot of hard work and a lot of preparation and a lot of effort, and that's what we're going to have to show to maintain it. As I've said, it's not easy, and things can knock you off track, and then you have to build from a low level and start all over again. So we don't want that to happen. We want to keep it at a level that's really high.
Team news wise, how are you shaped up?
Yeah, we came through the other night fine. No forwards from the game, so we've got a lot of options. Scott Banks still not available. Hopefully he'll get on the grass next week and see how it goes. Hopefully he might be an option next weekend. Failing that, almost certainly the week after. Rides is still not on the grass, still got an issue with his calf, and it was a little bit more significant than we thought. It's been scanned, and there's a little bit more damage initially than we anticipated. So he's still not back on the grass yet, but certainly he's building up his rehab, and hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, are you able to have a time frame on him?
Be a little bit longer than Scott Banks, I think, but not significantly more longer. He should be back 3-4 weeks.
What's the latest on Abo Issa's situation?
Abo just had a little bit of a setback, a little bit of sensation in his thigh, not on the area that he injured, just below that. So we are probably overly cautious with Abo, understandably. So it was only just a precaution. So we didn't think it was right that he was involved on Tuesday. So hopefully we'll start to build him up and he'll be ready again.
Is that a big thing when you've had a player that's suffered so many continuous injuries and setbacks?
Well, you can have that, yeah. I think if you've had a significant injury, then maybe balance of your body just is affected, and it takes time for everything to settle down and everything in your body just to fall into place, and so you're not overstraining one area because you're compensating for something else, and there's a lot of that going on. So it takes a little bit of time, but I was in a good place. He's as close as he's been for a long time, so we're more than happy with him. Final
one from me. The club, as I'm sure you're aware, released the proposals of a new look to the club badge. It's been met with reaction, I think it's fair to say. I just wondered what your reaction to the design of it was.
Yeah, I was shown the presentation, and when I read through it, I could understand the thinking behind it and the thought process in terms of the different elements of it. When you make a radical change to something that's part of the club and been a big part of the club historically for a number of years, then change is a little bit difficult for people. So I think the important thing is that everybody is consulted, and the fans will get an opportunity to have their say, and rightly so. And at some point, we'll see what becomes of it, whether or not it stays the same or there's tweaks to the design that's been put out there. We'll have to wait and see, but I think the process is the right way to go about it, and if there is to be change, then it should be done in the right manner.
It's a fine balance to strike, isn't it? The history and the heritage of a badge, but in the same breath the need to move and evolve.
Yeah, you can see a lot of clubs have done it, and it does garner a reaction, I think it's fair to say. So it's just getting to a point where everybody is reasonably comfortable, and then you can move forward.
Okay. You said a few weeks ago that you wanted your players to go out on the pitch not thinking they can win, but expecting to win. Do you think you're getting to that stage now with the run you're on?
I think there's an expectation in terms of the level of performance that we expect of ourselves, and with that expectation, I think it follows that we expect to play well, and if we play well, we expect to win. So yeah, we still feel there's more to come. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking, that the potential of the group hasn't actually got to the point where we're comfortable with everything we're doing. There's still room for improvement, and I think that's a good thing. But along the way, we're still picking up points, still winning games, and we all feel that there's more to come. And we're still in the early part of the league. What is it, 10, 11 games in, and still very early days. But we're really pleased with the start we've made. That was really important for us to get that momentum we talk about. And yeah, we're excited by what's ahead of us. We know there'll be at some point in the league this year some time where maybe our results aren't where we need them to be, or they're not as positive as maybe they are at the moment. But those periods need to be short and sharp, and we need to bounce back very quickly if we do have periods where we're not quite at the level we know we're capable of. And we just got to be ready if that happens, that we make sure we turn around quickly.
And presumably having a run like you're on and the confidence that brings makes it easier to deal with those setbacks when they come.
I think so, yeah. I think we know we're a good side at this level, and we can more than compete, so we can cause problems for any team at this level, we feel. When we play well and we play to our potential. So listen, League 2 is difficult because sometimes you can play exceptionally well and one ball into your box ricochets around a couple of times and it falls to somebody that you don't want it to fall to, and it's in the back of your net. And at times you can lose games when that happens, and you scratch your head and thinking, goodness me, how did that happen? But we recognise that and understand it could happen, but we've just got to take care of our business and make sure we do the best that we can do to make sure we get as many points and good performances on the board.
Mark, you mentioned obviously the last couple of games sort of sloppy moments creeping in, and I think Romney talked about taking the foot off the gas, particularly in the Leicester game. I mean, obviously you're going to have spells in the game where you're going to be under the cosh a little bit, but do you feel there are periods at the moment where this team, you're on top, you're ahead more often than not, and then perhaps they sort of let they sort of lose the grip on the game a little bit?
Yeah, there's a sense of that a little bit, but looking back on it, it's probably been 2 games that we've had that clearly, and the last two times, and I just think you have to factor in the opposition as well. I think I said this after the game, that clearly, certainly if you're the away team and you've just scored, you're going to face a reaction from the home team and their fans, so you know that they're going to come really strongly back at you, and it's about managing that period when teams will always up their levels and be better than they were prior to a goal. So it's just about really understanding that period is going to come, and it's how we manage that. And probably the last couple of times we certainly haven't done that as well. We got it to a point on Tuesday where 2-0 up. There probably was a little bit of complacency, and that's not what we want to see. We've got to maintain that level for the 90 minutes and not allow. What you have to do really is just disappoint the opposition. If they're going to try and up their levels, then you just got to stop things and nip things in the bud and stop things developing, making sure that they don't get any momentum, don't get any encouragement, and get confidence from that. There's only so much confidence on the football field, and you've got to draw all the confidence you can from them and add it to the confidence you already have. And that's what you have to do in football matches, just to make sure you recognise when maybe momentum's changing and you have the means to change it back the other way.
Obviously you spoke about from Stockport earlier. I mean, they've not had the best of starts, but traditionally they're a well-established club. Obviously, your career in Manchester, they were always there, weren't they? And they've always been well supported and well sort of.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and they're a good side. I watched them a little bit when they were coming through the league last year, and always tried to get the ball down and play and move, and got good individual talents as well at the top end of the pitch. So we have to be wary, but not overly afraid, because certainly they'll be discussing us in the same vein in terms of what we could do to them. So I think it'll be a really good game. I hope it is.
Another one of those occasions, as we said, where I think they'll probably be close to 2,000 away fans there as well, which is what you want, because it just feeds the atmosphere even more.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why there's a real anticipation for the game. I think all the lads are really looking forward to it. Can't wait to get out there.
And you're obviously talking about the relationship with the players and the club's been, the supporters has been very sort of good so far. Dion Pereira has obviously came back and everyone was so excited to see him back. Do you think Dion, is it a case he's trying a bit too hard at the moment, or he just seems to have been a little bit up and down the sort of first few weeks?
Yeah, he's not had as much as an impact probably that he hoped initially, but it's understandable. He didn't have pre-season with us, so we had to wait quite a long time to get him over the line, and really pleased that clearly he's back with us. But we all know what Dion will bring to us at some point. It's just at the moment, I think teams are aware of his talent and understand maybe when he was a little bit of an unknown player to a lot of clubs in League Two level when he first came to us, and he just exploded on the scene and was a real big player for us. So I think teams are just understanding that he's a real threat if they allow him any time and space. So it'll take him a little bit of time just to get his feet again and understand how best to attack teams.